Welcome, my friends, to another edition of More Bad News, brought to you, as always, by Camel Cigarettes. Take the Camels Challenge, smoke Camels for 30 days, and see for yourself what a difference Camels can make in your life. Folks, it wasn't just that more doctors smoked Camels. It was why more doctors smoked Camels. Why were Camels the most popular cigarette in America until the Marlboro Man came along and everybody switched to Marlboros? Marlboros were a cheap imitation cigarette that was easy to smoke and always came with a filter so that you could kid yourself that all the bad stuff was being filtered out. Camels didn't have a filter. There was nothing that needed to be filtered out. It was just pure Turkish tobacco. Camels was a cigarette for people who enjoyed smoking and weren't afraid of the smoke. It should come as no surprise that America's decline came when we switched from Camels to Marlboros. It was the beginning of the end of a proud people who brought tobacco smoking to the world. Well, folks, it's my birthday was March 18th. Turned 78th. I've begun the 78th year of my life with a bang. I got COVID for my birthday. So I start off my birthday. Uh, Let me begin with a little update on the health front. I tested positive for COVID on Monday, March 10th. So I'm 20 days into my first COVID infection. I no longer test positive for the virus, but I've acquired another virus, shingles, and now I'm taking an antiviral for the shingles virus. Shingles, the COVID virus often brings along with it other effects. I'm no longer testing positive for the virus, but the lingering effects could last for years. And in fact, we have many cases where they last for years. And the fact is that we have to think into it. You don't get over COVID. You've got it. It has affected your life expectancy, and everything about your health has been changed by your COVID infection. How it will individually affect the course of my life and health is a matter of that I'm going to have to take day by day. As my physician explained to me, the shingles vaccine, which I had both shingles vaccines, reduced the severity of the disease so that I should be thankful because it could have been worse. And so here's my message. The message from my physician is it could have been worse. Everything could have been worse. I was scheduled for a varicose vein procedure last Monday, but it had to be postponed because the ablation significantly increases the risk of blood clotting. And since COVID already increases my risk of blood clotting, they needed to postpone for another 4 to 6 weeks the ablation. And since the varicose veins is painful, burning, and itching, it's not insignificant that it had to be put off. So whereas in the past, I used to say with some confidence that we would at least have another couple of weeks and I'd see you again, I really can't say that any longer. Now, as we proceed from one show to the next, each show could well be my last. I had a friend some years ago, some decades ago. She was, I think, in her early 60s, and she was a dean of one of the colleges at Ferris. And she was planning a normal day, going to work. She was getting ready and sitting in front of her bedroom mirror when she had an aneurysm and died. The coroner said that her heart stopped beating, and she probably died within 90 seconds of her heart's stop beating. And I've often wondered about those 90 seconds. She was found later, just sitting there. She just died. I have another friend, who the same thing. She went to sleep and left him on the couch watching TV. And in the morning, she woke up and he was gone. He just passed away on the couch overnight. So your heart stops and you have 1 minute left. You can't communicate with anyone else. These are your last thoughts. And I've often wondered, so what would your last thoughts be? I used to tell my students the story about Antoine Lavoisier, the famous chemist, who discovered the law of conservation of matter. That is, that in any chemical transformation, no matter is ever lost or gained. When you burn wood, it seems to lose mass, but if you gather together the ash and the gases and everything else, and you put them all together, it's exactly the same. No matter is lost or gained in any chemical transaction. Um, he was one of the greatest scientific minds of his age, and he met his death by the guillotine in 1794, in no small part because he was hated for his rigorous enforcement of the tax on tobacco. He denied Parisians their favorite smoke, or he at least made it much more costly. Um, at any rate, I used to describe to my students Lavoisier's last 90 seconds. His head was sliced off in one clean, swift blow. His head fell into a basket, and then it was lifted up by the hair. And so he has this last moment in which he's looking out. He has one moment to think one thought. What is his last thoughts? And I would give my students a moment to think that over, and then I would give my suggestion as he's holding his head is being held up and he's looking out over this sea of people who are cheering, and what is the thought that comes to his mind, and I imagined, oh fuck. um, so if this is my last show, what I need to tell you while I still can is what advice or wisdom that I have now that I'm on my deathbed. Okay, so here it is. Take the Camel's challenge. Smoke camels for 30 days and see for yourself what a difference camels can make in your life. In fact, now that I'm thinking about it, I think I want that on my tombstone. I want that carved into my tombstone. Take the Camel's challenge, smoke camels for 30 days, and see for yourself what a difference camels can make in your life. So I'm at an elevated risk for blood clots. So the advice is not to sit or stand or lie prone for any lengthy period of time. You want to be moving about. But I've been absolutely exhausted. It's going on 3 weeks now, and basically I lay around and do nothing most of the day. Mostly I sleep. Of course, I have spurts of energy, and and so does my partner. She did a routine of exercise yesterday and paying for it today. It's COVID exhaustion, it's post-COVID exhaustion, and you never know how long that's going to last. It can last for years. If you want to look at the physics girl on YouTube, she has a channel. She has over 1 million viewers, and for 2 years now, she has been devastated by an absolutely brutal long COVID, where she's been unable to get out of bed. She needs to have everything around her, the darkened room, etc. She's just beginning to have some improvement in her condition, but for the last 2 years, her channel has been all about the devastation of long COVID. So my partner and I are both at an elevated risk for sudden death. And look, my angel is the angel of death. I'm not the way I see the future. There's nothing really tempting about wanting to live a long life and see and see what's coming. Um, uh, uh, COVID has focused my attention on disease. So I'm just now reading John Green's Everything is Tuberculosis. The Bulletin of Atomic Scientists predicts that a global surge in drug-resistant TB will result from the US dropping foreign aid funding for TB treatment. The bulletin estimated that as many as 3 million people will probably die from that recent decision, but it will also result in a surge in drug-resistant TB that will undoubtedly come to the United States, along with HIV/AIDS, which is also surging, and H5N1, which is rampaging across our domestic and wild species, and is already crossing that barrier. And remember, this is the pandemic flu that killed 60 to 100 million people in a few months in 1918, 1718. Um, so it's clear to me that we are seeing the first stages of a global pandemic that will make the Black Death look mild. So yeah, here's from my journal. Let me just show you. I'm also uh, reading Pox Americana, and I'll share something from that as well. This is from Pox Americana. Um, so first, my observation: imperialism brought with it smallpox, measles, influenza, mumps, typhus, cholera, plague, malaria, yellow fever, scarlet fever, whooping cough, and diphtheria. And neoliberalism, where we are right now, is bringing with it many diseases. It's enhancing the devastation of diseases. So here is from Pax Americana. The natives of Mexico, to choose only the most famous example, had endured a horrific epidemic of smallpox in conjunction with Hernan Cortez's triumph over the Aztecs between 1519 and 1521. Repeated bouts of Old World pestilence occurred in the years that followed. Smallpox may have been the most deadly of the plagues, but others too earned the respect and fear of America's indigenous populations. Measles, influenza, mumps, typhus, cholera, plague, malaria, yellow fever, scarlet fever, whooping cough, diphtheria, all wreaked havoc for the 2.5 centuries between Cortez's conquest and the American Revolution. By the time the first shots sounded in the great anti-imperialist conflict that had come to epitomize the late 18th century, this Pandora's box of disease had already decimated the natives of the Western Hemisphere many times over. So disease is not, it's not random, it's not separate from what is happening to us. And here is John Green's Everything is Tuberculosis. I've got a signed copy, really nice. Um, so how much time is left? This is a note from my journal. The short answer is not much. We are witnessing the rapid collapse of our civilization, the spread of multiple deadly diseases, wild and devastating natural catastrophes brought on by decades of long neglect of our environment. We placed profits before survival, and we continue to concentrate wealth into fewer and fewer hands, with devastation spreading throughout the population of the earth. Every guardrail has now been removed and every tipping point is tipped. In our immediate future is the extinction of our species. It's going to get very dark very quickly. So um, then I read you Pax Americana was one of so all right. Let's leave it there. This is also Rosh Chodesh Nisan. It means Passover is in 2 weeks. God help us. So it's uh, we're entering a period where you have to clean the house, and Passover is a extremely labor intensive holiday, and we're not up for it. We'll just take it day by day. I'm going to leave things there this week. Who knows? If I'm still around in 2 weeks, there'll be another show, and you can be sure that it'll contain nothing but more bad news.